Chosen one, there is a force within you that you may have only begun to recognize. It is something that exists beyond words, beyond action, beyond the visible, something that radiates from the very essence of who you are. This force, this high sexual energy, is not merely about attraction. It is magnetism in its purest form, an energy that draws people towards you without conscious effort, without external validation, without the need for performance. You've likely noticed it in subtle ways, the way people unconsciously lean in when you speak, the way their eyes linger on you a second longer than necessary, the way a simple glance can send an unspoken message, an invitation, a spark of recognition. This is not random. This is not mere coincidence. This is the natural result of an internal shift, a transformation that has taken place within you. Most men will never experience this. They will move through life chasing attraction, seeking attention, trying to manufacture a presence that cannot be faked. They will try to impress, to persuade, to convince others of their value, never realizing that the most powerful energy in the world is the one that requires no validation at all. But you, chosen one, are different. You have stepped into a space where attraction is no longer something you pursue, but something that flows toward you. You have become the gravitational force, the center of the orbit, the one that others feel inexplicably drawn to without knowing why. And now, the key is to understand why this is happening and how to wield it with mastery. This energy is not something external. It is who you are becoming. It is not about appearance alone, though presence plays a role. It is not about words alone, though the way you speak carries weight. It is not about tactics or strategies, though awareness of social dynamics is valuable. It is something deeper, something unshakable, something that exists at the very core of your being. It is the result of confidence that does not waver. It is the result of self-respect that does not beg for approval. It is the result of an internal sense of worth that is so strong, so complete, so absolute, that others cannot help but feel it when they are in your presence. This is why women gravitate toward you. Not because you chase them. Not because you seek to impress them. But because they feel, in their very bones, that you are a man who is centered, complete, whole within himself. They sense that your validation is not easily given, that your attention is valuable, that being noticed by you means something rare. And because of this, they seek it out, they crave it, they find themselves drawn toward you in ways they do not even fully understand. But now, chosen one, you must ask yourself, what will you do with this power? Because power, without awareness, is dangerous. Energy, without control, can become chaotic. Attraction, without purpose, can lead to distraction rather than fulfillment. This is the beginning of your mastery. This is where you step beyond mere attraction and into true influence, true command, true understanding of the force that flows through you. This is where you stop reacting to the world and start shaping it. And as you step into this awareness, as you recognize the effect you have on those around you, as you understand that this energy is both a gift and a responsibility, you will begin to see the world differently. You will no longer be surprised when women seek your presence, when they find reasons to linger near you, when they initiate interactions that others must work tirelessly to create. You will understand that this is not about luck. This is not about chance. This is about who you have become, and that, chosen one, is the greatest power of all. Chosen one, now that you have awakened to the truth of your presence, now that you have felt the pull of attraction happening effortlessly, now that you have begun to see that you are no longer chasing but being pursued, it is time to understand the next lesson, the art of silent command. Because the moment you recognize that attraction flows naturally toward you, the moment you see that people adjust themselves in your presence, that they seek your attention without you having to give it freely, you must resist the urge to overplay your hand. The average man, when he notices that he is being desired, makes a fatal mistake. He seeks to capitalize on it too quickly. He leans too far into the validation. He begins to perform rather than simply be. He starts chasing the very thing that was effortlessly coming to him, and in doing so, he loses the power that made him magnetic in the first place. But you, chosen one, must move differently, because true power, true attraction, true influence is found in restraint, in presence, in the ability to hold your ground without rushing forward. This is where the art of silent command begins. Silent command is not about saying more. It is about saying less and having it mean more. It is about being fully present in a conversation without feeling the need to dominate it. It is about holding eye contact without being the first to look away, not out of arrogance, but out of a calm, steady certainty that you belong exactly where you are. It is about engaging in interactions in a way that invites others to come closer, rather than pushing them away with forceful action. Because the truth is, chosen one, people want to work for what they value. If you are too available, too eager, too willing to offer yourself without any challenge, without any barrier to entry, then you become common. And there is nothing more unattractive than something that is easy to obtain. But when you master the art of silent command, when you embody an energy that is both inviting and elusive, both warm and challenging, both present and yet slightly out of reach, something incredible happens. You become unforgettable. Women do not simply notice you, they remember you. They replay the interactions in their minds, trying to figure out why they felt something so different, so rare, so completely unlike what they have felt with others. They seek more of your attention, not because you gave it freely, but because it was given with purpose, with precision, with the understanding that your attention is valuable and must be earned. And this, chosen one, is where true mastery begins. Because when you learn to move with silent command, when you learn to engage without seeking, when you learn to let attraction flow to you rather than from you, you step into a level of power that is beyond anything most men will ever experience. You no longer need to chase, you no longer need to impress, you no longer need to seek approval. Because the moment you become the man who is so deeply grounded in himself that he does not need anything from anyone, you will find that the world itself begins to offer you everything. And that chosen one is the ultimate power. Chosen one, now that you have begun to understand the force that flows through you, now that you see how women gravitate toward your presence without effort, now that attraction is no longer something you seek but something that moves toward you, you must learn the next great lesson, the power of stillness. Stillness is not about inaction. It is not about passivity. It is about the ability to hold your ground, to be fully in control of yourself, to exist in a space without the need to react impulsively. The world is filled with men who move too quickly, who rush to prove themselves, who seek to force an outcome rather than allowing it to unfold. But you, chosen one, must move differently. Stillness is what separates those who command attention effortlessly from those who struggle to keep it. It is the invisible force that makes people feel your presence before you have even spoken. It is the energy that makes women feel curious about you, intrigued by you, unable to shake the feeling that there is something deeper beneath the surface. This is where most men fail. They talk too much, trying to fill silence with unnecessary words. They fidget, unable to sit comfortably in their own energy. They seek validation, constantly looking for reassurance that they are being seen, being heard, being acknowledged. But in doing so, they weaken their presence. They give away the very power they should be cultivating. You, chosen one, must embrace the power of restraint, of poise, of being so deeply grounded within yourself that you do not need to chase, to force, to convince. Because stillness is command. Stillness is magnetism. Stillness is the unshakable certainty that you are enough, exactly as you are, without needing to prove it. When you walk into a room, do not rush to fill space with words. Let your presence speak first. Let people feel you before they hear you. When you engage in conversation, listen with intent, not just to respond, but to truly absorb the energy of the moment. When a woman is drawn to you, do not rush to confirm her attraction. Let her feel it. Let her experience it. Let her sit in the energy of your presence long enough for it to sink deep into her subconscious. Because the truth is, attraction is not just about the words you say, the moves you make, the actions you take. Attraction is about how you make people feel when they are near you. And a man who is still within himself, a man who does not seek approval, a man who moves only when it is necessary, is a man who becomes unforgettable. This is the difference between someone who is merely noticed and someone who is felt on a deeper level. And this, chosen one, is what will separate you from all the rest. Chosen one, now that you have begun to master the power of stillness, now that you understand that your presence alone is enough to create a gravitational pull, now that you see how being centered within yourself makes you more attractive than any words or actions ever could, you must now embrace one of the most powerful forces of all, the art of unavailability. Because in this world, what is rare is valuable. What is easily accessible is taken for granted. What is given too freely is never truly appreciated. Most men believe that if they want to be desired, they must always be present, always be available, always be the one who's ready to respond, to engage, to show interest. They believe that the more they give, the more they will be appreciated. But in reality, the more something is given without effort, without exclusivity, without scarcity, the less it is valued. You, chosen one, must understand that your presence is not meant to be available to everyone, at all times, under all circumstances. You must move with selectivity, with precision, with an understanding that your time, your energy, your attention are things that must be earned, not simply given away to anyone who asks for it. This does not mean playing games. This does not mean pretending to be busy when you are not. This does not mean using manipulation to create artificial desire. It means living a life so full, so purpose-driven, so deeply connected to your own path that your attention is a privilege, not a default. When you are unavailable, people begin to wonder about you, to think about you, to crave your presence. They begin to appreciate every moment you choose to engage, every conversation you decide to have, every glance, every interaction, because they know it is not given lightly. This is the essence of true power. Not in trying to prove yourself, not in seeking attention, not in giving everything to anyone who simply asks, but in understanding that your value increases the moment you decide that not everyone is entitled to experience it. Because when you become a man who is focused on his purpose, on his own fulfillment, on his own growth, your presence naturally becomes something that is rare, something that is sought after, something that people feel lucky to be a part of. And when a woman feels lucky to have your attention, when she knows that your presence is not something that can be demanded but something that is earned, her attraction deepens. She does not just enjoy your company, she cherishes it. She does not just admire you, she respects you. She does not just desire you, she seeks to keep you in her world, knowing that if she does not, someone else will. Because that is what happens when a man is truly unavailable to anything that does not align with his highest path. And that, chosen one, is where true mastery begins. Chosen one, now that you have mastered stillness and embraced the art of unavailability, you must now step into the next level of mastery, selective engagement. Because attraction, when wielded without discernment, becomes chaotic. Energy, when given without boundaries, becomes diluted. Attention, when spread too thin, loses its power. The ability to draw people toward you, to create an atmosphere where others seek your presence, to move through the world knowing that your energy is rare, this is only the beginning. The true mastery comes in deciding where to place that energy. Because the world is filled with people who seek to take without giving. People who are drawn to power but do not respect it. People who crave energy, not to elevate it, but to consume it. And as you step deeper into your own power, as you watch more and more women gravitate toward you, as you see how effortlessly attraction now flows into your life, you must ask yourself a crucial question. Who is worthy of experiencing my presence? Most men never reach this point. They believe that attention alone is the reward. They assume that because someone desires them, they must engage. They spread their energy carelessly, responding to every signal, entertaining every interaction, never realizing that just because you are wanted does not mean you must be available. But you, chosen one, must move differently. You must begin to filter. You must begin to choose. You must begin to recognize that your energy is a form of currency, and if it is given too freely, it loses its value. Because attraction is easy, connection is rare. And those who fail to separate one from the other will find themselves surrounded by people, yet deeply unfulfilled. This is why you must engage only with those who meet you at your level. Not those who merely admire you, but those who understand you. Not those who are drawn to your energy for the excitement of the moment, but those who can add to it, elevate it, match it with a force of their own. Because when you begin to engage selectively, everything changes. Women do not just desire you, they respect you. They do not just crave your presence, they work to earn it. They do not just seek your attention, they value it. Because they understand, whether consciously or subconsciously, that you are a man who does not give his presence away without thought, that your time, your attention, your energy are not things to be taken lightly. That to truly experience you, they must bring something of equal value. And when you move like this, when you choose rather than being chosen, when you engage only with those who align with your highest path, when you filter out anything that does not serve your growth, you step into a realm of power that few will ever know. You are no longer just attractive. You are no longer just magnetic. You have become a force that cannot be controlled, only experienced by those who are truly worthy. Chosen one. Now that you have mastered the art of choosing where to place your energy, you must now embrace the greatest strength of all, the power of walking away. Because in a world where people cling to what they think they need, where desperation fuels the actions of so many, where validation is sought at the cost of self-respect, the ability to leave anything that does not serve you is the rarest power of all. Most men fear walking away. They fear losing attention. They fear missing an opportunity. They fear that if they do not hold on to what is offered to them, they may never receive something better. And so they settle. They remain in interactions that drain them. They entertain relationships that do not challenge or elevate them. They continue to give their energy to those who take it for granted, all because they do not trust that something greater awaits them beyond what they can see. But you, chosen one, must never settle. Because to settle is to diminish your power. To settle is to say that your presence is not worth more. To settle is to choose comfort over growth, to allow the world to dictate your value rather than commanding it yourself. You must be willing to walk away from anything that does not match the energy you bring to the world. If a connection is one-sided, walk away. If someone does not appreciate your presence, walk away. If you feel your energy being drained rather than replenished, walk away. Because the man who is willing to walk away is the man who commands the highest respect. When a woman senses that you do not need her validation, that you do not fear losing her, that you are so deeply rooted in your own sense of worth that you would rather be alone than settle for anything less than what you deserve, her attraction deepens instinctively. Because neediness is repellent, clinging is weak, and desperation is the opposite of power. But the man who can look at something he once desired, something that once intrigued him, something that once pulled at his attention, and say, "This is not enough for me," is the man who shatters the illusion that he can ever be controlled. And that chosen one is where your true power lies. Not in chasing, not in seeking approval, not in fearing loss, but in knowing with absolute certainty that what is meant for you will never require you to compromise your standards. And when you embrace this, you will find that the world itself begins to shift around you. Because now, you are not just a man who is desired. You are a man who decides. And there's nothing more powerful than that. Chosen one, now that you have embraced the power of walking away, now that you have stepped into the realm where your energy is no longer wasted but carefully directed, now that you understand that what is meant for you will always recognize your value, you must now step into the next level of mastery, becoming a world unto yourself. Because true attraction, the kind that is undeniable, the kind that makes people crave your presence even when you are not around, the kind that makes women gravitate toward you with a force they do not fully understand, does not come from mere desire. It does not come from appearance alone, from charm alone, from status alone. True attraction is born from self-sufficiency, from being a man whose world is so complete, so rich, so overflowing with purpose that he never needs anything from anyone. Most men will never reach this level. They build their identity around what they receive from others. They feel powerful only when they are desired. They feel valuable only when they are validated. They exist not as independent forces, but as reflections of the attention they are given. And so they cling, they chase, they seek to prove themselves over and over again, mistaking external affirmation for true inner fulfillment. But you, chosen one, must move differently. Because a man who is self-sufficient, who is so deeply fulfilled in his own existence that he is never swayed by external validation, becomes the rarest of them all. You must become the man who does not need attention to feel whole, the man who does not need constant affirmation to know his worth, the man who does not seek completion in others because he is already complete within himself. When you reach this level, something extraordinary happens. Your energy becomes magnetic beyond reason. Women do not just admire you, they respect you at a primal level. They do not just seek your validation, they desire your presence in ways they cannot even explain. Because what they feel when they are around you is certainty, unshakable confidence, the presence of a man who is so deeply in control of his own world that stepping into it feels like stepping into something greater than themselves. And this is what makes you different. Because unlike other men, who move through the world trying to impress, trying to be seen, trying to prove their worth, you are simply existing in a state of effortless abundance. Your time is occupied with things that fulfill you. Your energy is directed toward your growth, your vision, your purpose. Your presence is something that adds to others rather than seeking to take from them. And this, chosen one, is what creates gravity. Because when a man is so deeply satisfied with his own existence, when he has mastered the art of living in a way that brings him fulfillment, whether he is alone or surrounded by others, when he moves with the quiet confidence of someone who knows that he is enough, regardless of who acknowledges it, he pulls people toward him without effort. Because people are not drawn to those who seek them. They are drawn to those who do not need them. And when you become this man, when you embody this energy, when you step fully into the space of being a world unto yourself, the entire dynamic of attraction shifts in your favor. Because now, you are not the one looking for validation. Now you are not the one hoping to be seen. Now you are the one that others cannot help but notice, admire, and seek to be a part of. Chosen one, now that you have become self-sufficient, now that your presence is something that others seek rather than something you try to project, now that you have cultivated an energy that does not chase but naturally pulls, you must now master the next level, the art of leaving an impression. Because attraction, no matter how strong, is meaningless if it is temporary. Most men can capture attention for a moment. Few men can leave an imprint that lingers long after they are gone. And this, chosen one, is where your true power lies, not just in being attractive in the moment, but in being unforgettable. This is what makes the difference between a man who is merely desired and a man who cannot be replaced. Because while most men focus on the immediate, on how they are perceived in a single interaction, on the instant gratification of knowing they are admired, the truly powerful man focuses on what he leaves behind. You must become the man who does not just exist in someone's memory, but who alters the way they see the world. A woman should not just remember your presence, she should feel it even when you are not there. She should recall the way you held space, the way you moved with certainty, the way your energy made her feel seen, understood, challenged, inspired. Because attraction fades, but impression lasts. And a man who leaves an impression is a man who will never be forgotten. So how do you do this, chosen one? You do this by being fully present in every interaction. You do this by making people feel something they do not experience anywhere else. You do this by not giving yourself away too easily, by making your attention something that must be earned, by allowing people to recognize that your presence is valuable because it is rare. And most of all, you do this by leaving people better than you found them. Because when a woman walks away from you, when she reflects on the time she spent in your presence, when she replays the conversations, the energy, the moments of silent connection, she should not just remember you. She should feel that she has been changed by the experience of knowing you. And when you move like this, when you leave an impression so deep that it lingers in the minds of others long after you have left the room, you become something that is no longer just attractive. You become unforgettable. Because while others will be desired in passing, you will be etched into the subconscious. while others will be seen and then forgotten. You will be thought about in quiet moments, in moments of solitude, in moments of reflection. Because you, chosen one, are not just someone who exists in the present. You are someone who shapes the way others experience the world. And when you reach this level, when you step into this space, when you understand that your presence is not just about what happens in the moment, but about what remains long after the moment has passed, you will never again need to chase. Because now, you are not just another man. You are a memory, a feeling, a presence that does not fade. And that, chosen one, is the highest level of power you can attain. Chosen one, now that you have mastered presence, now that your energy is no longer something you give freely, but something others must earn. Now that you have become a man whose absence is felt just as much as his presence, you must embrace one of the most potent forces in attraction: mystery. Because in a world where everyone overshares, where people lay out their entire lives for anyone willing to listen, where desperation for attention has led to an epidemic of overexposure, the man who is truly unknown becomes the most desirable. Mystery is not about deception. It is not about playing games or hiding who you are. It is about holding back enough of yourself that others are left wanting more. It is about revealing only what is necessary, only what is earned, only what aligns with the moment. The greatest mistake most men make is believing that the more they share, the more they will be liked. They believe that by giving everything away up front, by telling their entire story, by constantly proving their worth, they will gain admiration. But this is an illusion. Because what is given too freely is never valued. What is easily understood is quickly dismissed. But when you, chosen one, become a man who reveals himself in layers, when you allow people to discover you over time rather than consuming you all at once, you create something rare: intrigue. Because the human mind is drawn to what it does not fully understand. When people cannot predict you, they obsess over you. When they do not know what you will say next, they hang on your every word. When you do not give them everything all at once, they keep coming back, hoping to unravel another piece of the mystery. This is why, when a woman feels she knows everything about a man, her attraction begins to fade. Not because he is any less valuable, but because there is no more discovery left to be made. She has explored all there is to explore. She has mapped every part of him. And once the mystery is gone, so is the anticipation, the excitement, the deep-rooted curiosity that fuels desire. But when you, chosen one, become a man who cannot be easily figured out, a man whose thoughts, whose emotions, whose presence carry layers that take time to uncover, you become something that is no longer just attractive. You become addictive. Because now your presence is not just something to be experienced, it is something to be pursued. Women do not just want to be near you, they want to understand you. They do not just enjoy your company, they crave the next moment, the next interaction, the next piece of the puzzle that will bring them closer to the full picture. And the greatest secret of all? The full picture can never be reached. Because you are a man who is always evolving. You are a man who is constantly growing, constantly moving forward, constantly stepping into new versions of yourself. There is no final destination. There is no moment where you have been fully known, fully understood, fully consumed. Because the moment you feel you have been completely figured out, you have already become stagnant. But when you live in a state of constant evolution, when you are always pushing yourself, always learning, always deepening your mastery of self, then no matter how much someone knows you, there will always be something more to discover. And that, chosen one, is how you remain unforgettable. Chosen one, now that you have become a man of depth, now that your presence lingers in the minds of others long after you have left the room, now that you have cultivated an aura of mystery that draws people in without effort, there is one final lesson, the lesson of legacy. Because attraction is temporary, attention is fleeting, but impact is eternal. Most men live their lives chasing the next moment, the next interaction, the next validation, never realizing that the true measure of power is not in how many people desire you, but in how many people you leave changed. The world will remember men not for how much they were admired, but for how much they inspired. And so the question you must now ask yourself, chosen one, is not just how many people are drawn to you, But what do they take away from your presence? Are you a man who simply entertains? Or are you a man who elevates? Do you leave people with empty memories? Or do you leave them with lessons, with new perspectives, with an energy that lingers in their soul long after you are gone? Because the highest form of power is not in being desired, it is in being remembered. It is in walking into a room and changing the energy without having to speak. It is in making someone think differently about themselves just because of how you carried yourself. It is in leaving a mark so deep that no matter where life takes them, no matter who they meet, they will never forget the way they felt in your presence. That is what true mastery looks like. Because the men who are truly powerful, the men who shape the world, the men who rise above all others, are not just men who were noticed in their time.